Good morning, this is the Fat Health Teacher. It looks like my regular video editing or recording software is failed, so I'm going to have to try to find something else, which means the quality of this video is not going to be very good, but we will see. It is 10 to 9 and my son is still asleep because I went in ragged over the weekend, being out and playing and hunting Pokemon and that type of thing. I actually didn't get a video recorded over the weekend because I was gone for most of both days. One day helping a friend move, another day running some errands. I am official now. I have business cards, which are really cool. I'd share them, but they have all my information on them, so not so much. Okay, I haven't done a weigh-in. I'm pretty sure it's not very good. I've been indulging over the last week or so. Not terribly so, but just more than I had been. Things have calmed down at work a little bit. I don't feel like I'm being run ragged, which means I've had time to go through some of the cabinetry. For example, I found 4 laptops, none of which seem to be charged, and there don't seem to be any chargers available. Let's see. Oh, I found a press thing. I can't remember, a die cut, where you put the shape in and then you put your paper and then you press everything down and you get a really cool imprint from whatever was on the paper. So that was really cool. A coworker was very happy with that. I know that I'm not going to use it a whole lot, but I know that she will. So I was able to move all of that stuff out of my classroom and to pass it on to her. She wanted to know if I was sure that I wanted to pass it on, and I absolutely was, just because I know that if I use it, it's only going to be a couple times. So it's not going to be a big deal to have her kind of having the ownership of it and then just going over there and borrowing it whenever. So let's see what else I found. I have a pregnancy belly, which is something that I've wanted for a long time. It's a sympathy belly, that you can put on people who have not experienced the joys of pregnancy, so they can feel the pressures and the weight and all of that kind of stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. And then and I also found, I think I have 6 babies of the robotic variety, where you care for them and then when they cry you have to feed them and change the diaper, and there's this whole tracking thing in order to make sure that you're doing it right type stuff. Let's see, what else? Yeah, I mean, I finally got posters put away. I'm getting stuff organized. The lady, the teacher that I passed the die cut to, is actually really interested in doing a sewing class, so I'm going to see about recruiting people for that, because I think that that'll be a lot of fun. We can do like a once a week kind of thing. Unfortunately, it would be during her prep, because trying to do stuff before or after school is just not very practical. We start at 11 and we finish at 7. So we maybe could do something before school, but her prep is actually at a pretty good time. And she has volunteered, and I think the kids would absolutely love it. Okay, what else? I haven't watched a whole lot of TV. We did finish Stranger Things on Netflix, which was actually quite good. I was really happy to see that they've been approved for a 2nd season, because I would have been very sad. It would be interesting to see how they choose to handle all of the cliffhangers that they left us with. Let's see, what else? First week of school has gone well. I've got a couple of people who want to switch out, but I don't think it's because we're making a bad connection. I think it's more that they are prioritizing graduating, and if they don't need the elective, then they don't want to be in my class. And I'm totally okay with that. One of the kids that wants to switch out was a former student of mine at Wilson. In fact, of my 13 current students, 5 were former students at Wilson. And so we're kind of familiar with each other, which is neat. And we've had some good conversations. One of the things that was recommended is that we do something called an icebreaker, and that we keep repeating it, which I've been doing. And it's worked really well. I've been using a thing called the Endgame, which basically has questions that are asked or sentences to be finished on little cards. And then there are a couple cards that have comments or questions. And each of the kids and myself picks up 2 cards. We sit around in a circle and we just kind of talk about what's on the cards. It's been nice. I don't know if I'm going to continue for the second week, but that was all like level 1, and then there are level 2 cards. So what I might do is have it as like a Monday morning welcome back to class type thing. Like I said, I really haven't decided yet. News. Crazy flooding in Louisiana. I'm pretty sure it was Louisiana. Just watched a video this morning of this woman who was in a car that got overrun by the floodwaters, and some people stepped in and saved her, and they got her dog out of the water as well. The car was fully submerged. The Olympics have been amazing. I caught some volleyball over the last few days, and it's just absolutely beautiful to watch the level of play, especially for the indoor volleyball. They are doing things that I would have loved to have been able to do, but I didn't have the consistency. And by that, probably didn't have the practice levels that I needed, and just did not get my own level of consistency there so that my teammates could have their levels of consistency. But just absolutely beautiful, just mesmerizing to watch how they were moving that ball. Watching some beach volleyball, same thing. It still impresses me that with beach volleyball, one of the players will decide to go up to the net and block, because it just seems to leave so much of the court open. But it's an effective strategy, otherwise they wouldn't do it, right? I got new glasses, in case you hadn't noticed. They're supposed to have an anti-reflective thing on them, but I'm seeing some reflection, so I don't know. And got a lot of filler here, mostly because I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. I don't have a whole lot. I've just been really staying busy. The boy starts preschool on the 8th of September. I start my college classes on the 22nd, so that would be next week. And my professor has already contacted us and said, hey, you've got homework, which is not to be unexpected from an 8-week class. It'll be good. I'm actually really looking forward to it. This week I also start my Spanish language class. As you know, I've been off and on doing Duolingo. I've still had trouble incorporating it regularly into my current schedule. But it is something that I have been working on. And I am looking forward to actually doing a class. I believe that the teacher, who is one of the teachers at my school, is going to do an immersive type thing where I'm guessing once we go in the door, it's going to be all Spanish all the time, which should be interesting. But I'm pretty sure I've done some reading that has said that that's a very good way to learn another language, is basically to be forced to speak it. Because now with the Duolingo, I've been practicing all summer, and I recognize a lot of words, and I'm not so bad when it comes to reading them, but I have zero faith right now in my ability to speak anything other than, thank you or please type thing. I've been reading a book called Habits. It's actually a slightly more complicated title than that. I am about at the third of the way through, and it's really good. If you have wondered about why we have habits, how they're developed, how we can change them successfully, any of those things, I think this would be a book for you to read. It's a very easy read. It talks about a lot of stuff. For example, there are programs that I did not know that these were the reasons that they happen. So the book is called The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do. It is by a gentleman by the name of, Charles Duhigg. Okay. It's, so once again, the name of it is The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business. So I forgot the last part. Anyway, so one of the things I learned about is that Febreze was almost a failure, which is interesting, because they created this and it really did get rid of odor. Not just masked it, it actually got rid of odor. And when it came to marketing, they couldn't figure out how to introduce this brand new cleaning thing to the market so that people would buy it. And they initially tried to say, hey, look, it gets rid of all the odors, but people weren't using it. And then they changed, like they did a lot of research, because that's what you do. And when they were done, they changed it to, hey, look, this is a great way to finish a room. And so they would show people cleaning their rooms, and then they'd straighten the bed, and then they'd spray the Febreze, and then they were good. And they ended up having to add scenting to the Febreze so that people would get that kind of cue or reward. I believe they set it up as a reward for using the Febreze. And then their sales just completely skyrocketed because it ended up being a much better advertising technique, which I thought was really cool. I don't know if you remember, but some of the earlier Febreze ads involved people sitting in like rooms that had all kinds of disgusting things in them, just overwhelmingly, overpoweringly, just bleh, right? Rotted food and dirty clothes and all kinds of stuff. And they would blindfold people and they would send them in. They'd say, please describe the smell of this room. And they would describe it as something very pleasant. And then the blindfold would come off and they'd be looking around and they would be absolutely appalled at everything that was there. And then you had the later ads, which switched it up a little bit, and the later ads ended up being the ones that were more successful. Some other stuff that I learned is there was a gentleman who was in charge of the aluminum company. I'm spacing the name right now. And when he came in, instead of saying, hey, as the boss, this is what I'm going to do in order to increase profits and everything, he focused on safety. And because of the systems that he input, or that were created to focus on safety, which is what he wanted, he actually ended up creating a system that allowed other things to happen, and so the whole thing improved because of that one thing. There was another article where they were talking about people brushing their teeth, or using floss, or... No, it was... So babies were being born with poor health, okay? And they ended up doing a bunch of research, and it led to, it was in part due to poor maternal nutrition, which needed to actually be in place. So better maternal nutrition needed to be in place before a baby was even conceived. And so they said, well, how do we do that? And they ended up tracking it back to teachers. And they said, well, we need nutrition programs to be taught in schools. And they said, well, how do we do that? Well, we need to have teacher education programs that focus on teaching nutrition. And so they took this little thing, right? Kids born in poor health and not doing well, and they traced it all the way back to teacher education, which I thought was really cool because it's something that I like to do. Why? Why is it like that? Why is it like that? And you find the thing, and this guy who was in charge of the aluminum group, people would get annoyed with him because they would give him an answer to one of his questions, and then he would ask 50 more questions. He would say, but why? But why? But why? But why? Why is it like that? Why is it like that? The more I read about in books such as this, the more respect I have for companies like Starbucks, and the more I have absolutely no problem giving them my business. Because one of the things that they do, they did, like the spotlight type thing with this kid who had the sob story thing going on, had a rough life, all of that, had difficulty holding down a job. Then he got a job at Starbucks, and part of having a job at Starbucks is like doing courses through Starbucks. And the courses will do things like teach you how to be a good employee, teach you how to be good with money. And this was all stuff that Starbucks created in order to be more successful, because they realized that if they focused on their people, then their people would be happier, and then that would trickle over to their customers, which makes a lot of sense. It's something that I deeply believe in, that if we want to facilitate great change, we can't just do one-off lessons. We can't just say, all right, this is what you need to do in order to eat better or to not be on drugs or anything like that. It requires repetitive type things, and you really got to go after the whole picture, not just a very small image. If you focus on the little thing, then that big thing may or may not happen. But if you are able to focus on the little thing that starts very early, then you can change things, right? So I'm hoping that what I'm doing with my son, and what we are doing with my son, our son, is going to give him those little things that are going to make the big things happen. So, yeah, and it's all about chunking anyway. Anyway, I think I'm done. I gotta go grab a shower, and at some point I gotta wake the kid up because, I gotta get him to school. It has been nice talking with you. I will be doing my best to keep in touch, as I said, until I get my new rhythm down. This is kind of going to be what it is. It'll be a weekly check-in. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. This is the Pat Health Teacher signing out.